Good afternoon, my friends and family. Thank you guys for listening. There have been a couple things I've been thinking about lately, and one of them have to do with what one person can do in our lives. So I'm titling this one, The Power of One. And when I used to do some seminars for teachers or educators, speech pathologists, I always started with this quote. And I want to just say it. The guy's name, he was a psychologist. His name is Ham Ginat. I hope I said his name right for you psychology majors. But this is what he said. And he was talking about it as it related to the classroom setting. And he said, I've come to a frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in the classroom. It's my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess a tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, and a child humanized or dehumanized. Why am I starting with that? Because it started when I saw an interview on CBS Sunday Morning a couple weeks ago. And for those of you who are not local, I live near New Orleans, the greater New Orleans area. And so, you know, the French Quarter is there. Well, anyway, this lady's name is Doreen, and she works or does her music sitting on a corner in the French Quarter. And she was doing it as she always does it. This particular time, somebody recorded it and put it on, you know, social media. A man who lived in New York saw it. The interesting thing was when she was asked what would she like to do when she was in the French Quarter, she named this venue that she would like to play in New York. Well, what do you think happened? This particular man saw it, he got in touch with her, and guess what? That is where she played. The power of one. That is a positive thing. Then I thought about in my own life, as it relates to these videos, to the books I've done, in particular, this one, Thoughts to Ponder, Discovering Your Authentic Self. And I wrote about it in the book, in the prologue. Someone at a church asked me to write a 5-minute skit. I did it, and it was great. It was received well, but then it was shut down. So then the question was, do you continue going or do you just let it die? I couldn't let it die because I recognized real fast. Remember, I talked about what my purpose is, and ultimately it is to empower people to maximize their potential, irrespective of racial, ethnic, or cultural diversity, through love, trust, respect, and sensitivity. But as I've said before, we all have missions that are directly related to our purpose. So I recognized that because there were people asking about it, and so I said, okay, fine, let's turn it into a play. That is how the play started. But all of these video chats are themes taken from the play and things I've learned through my years of living in my daily walk. But it was that one lady who asked me to do that 5-minute skit. That was about 5 years ago. And look at where we are. I'm probably now 50 to 60 videos in, 2 books, because I wrote a children's book as well, The Power of One. That was the positive part. The negative side was someone decided that they did not want us to do it. The power of one. Once again, that was the negative side. Okay. Then I was listening to, and you guys may be familiar with it, this was a video that Bishop Jakes did some years ago, Stumbling into the Place. And he talked about how all he did was write a Sunday school lesson called Woman Thou Art Loose with 30 members in West Virginia. But there was a way that a clip was played with the Azusa Conference, and it was picked up and played on TVN. Man heard it, the rest is history. The Power of One. That was positive. But then I thought about this, and I wrote about this in the book as well. When I had a huge responsibility for an agency, and there was one person who recognized the benefit, and she asked me if I could help with it because there were some federal statutes coming along and they needed help. And I said, yeah, great. We modified it, we did it. It was phenomenally successful. That was positive. The Power of One. On the flip side of that, the person who actually had the ability to be able to push it forward, because everybody was doing well, teachers, staff, children, everybody was doing well. She decided to let it go. And in that same area, there were people who were trying to sabotage it. But as I said in the book, you can't sabotage something that can work. It was based on science, so I knew that it would work. But interestingly enough, working with that agency, I did travel to Washington, D.C. I did meet with other people. We did have great conversations and all of that. But at the same time, the Power of One tried to destroy it. Here is what I always think about. And Bishop Noel Jones said this one time, that in a sermon he did. He said, it can take you a lifetime to develop something or to do something, and someone can destroy it overnight. And it's true. In my case, in that particular case, I have been working on that since graduate school. And it was working, and I knew that it was, and many people have been using it. But the Power of One was to try and destroy it. So this is why I always refer back to that triad, understanding who you are. Once you do that, you stand on it, you own it rather, you're principled by it. The other thing is knowing your purpose and then understanding your missions as it relates to your purpose. Okay, that's what I have to say about that. When you consider the Power of One, you can either be a destroyer or you can be an empowerer. You can be somebody who discourages, or you can be somebody who encourages. In all things, why don't we choose to be the people who encourage, who help people, who are kind, who are sympathetic and empathetic with others? And I think at the end of the day, it will help us to have a joyous life, a life where we can go around and spread happiness, do good for others, and it will come back to you. So I want you guys to have a blessed day, have a wonderful day, and in all things, be blessed.